Welcome back to the Citizen channel. I hope you're all staying safe and well. And we have a History Boys feature today, and it's one of those sort of, there's a lot of these in City's history. It's one of those that also qualifies on my little horrible histories feature. So it's a History Boys and a horrible histories. And we're going to look back to a home game with Liverpool. And as I'm recording this, 40 years to the day, we'll be playing them in a very important Premier League game. And we're going to look back at the 10th of April, 1982. So yes, add 40 to that and you know what we're talking about. So we're going to have a look at that History Boys feature on this particular game. Please, if you are new to the channel, push that subscribe button, push the bell notifications so you know when these vlogs are coming out. If you enjoy them, please give us that little thumbs up if you enjoy what I try and do. These just one of the sort of features and different types of vlogs I have on the Citizen channel. Yeah, so Bob Paisley. Bob Paisley was the guy in charge of Liverpool. His Liverpool team arrived at Maine Road in top spot. Yes, top spot in the division. No surprise there. Perhaps you think in the 80s, but unusual circumstances certainly this season. They were level on points with Ipswich, but had a far superior goal difference after 31 games. John Bond's City, that's us. Yeah, we sat 8th, so not on the face of it great. We'd played 33 games, so we played a couple of more games than Liverpool, and we're actually 10 points behind them, which certainly, even though we're going back to 1982, it was still 3 points for a win then. So it's, you know, it doesn't seem as though it would have been at that stage, but how time flies. But things have been so different at the turn of the year. Yeah, ironically, back on Boxing Day, a rare 3-1 win at Anfield for City. Yes, a 3-1 win. You heard me correctly. Followed later, 2 days later, by a 2-1 win at home against Wolves. That put us top of the division. Yes, we'd gone top on January the 1st, 1982, under Mr. John Bond. But after 20 games, that was 20 games, we'd got, that was 20 games. And then obviously the next 13 games, we only collected a measly 16 out of a possible 39. So it'd quickly seen us, unfortunately, drop down the league. Liverpool themselves, interestingly enough, when we beat them 3-1 at Anfield, they were actually in the bottom half of the league. They're actually the bottom half of the league, but it actually galvanised them. They actually claimed later that it sort of, you know, they all had to sort of sit down after this game and said, look, they were the reigning champions, of course, from the season before. And it sort of galvanised them then to actually go on a great run in the league, winning 13 of the next 15 games. And by the time they came to Maine Road for this game, we were firm favourites to win the title. Just away from football, before we just have a look at the game, history buffs will know that it was a year, of course, 1982, dominated by the Falklands War. It didn't last long, but it certainly dominated the news and events, and obviously the horrors of war all came about in 1982. A 200-mile exclusion zone had just been placed around the Falkland Islands themselves, and a Royal Navy task force in April had literally set sail to liberate the island from Argentinian aggression in the hands, of course. On a less serious note, the magazine show Tiswas, every day's a Tiswas, something like that anyway, had aired for the very last time on ITV. Yes, a lot of people were upset about that. Interesting. It was 1982, but I did watch the odd Tiswas, even when I got into my 20s. Goombay Dance Band, remember them? Goombay Dance Band were at number 1 in the singles chart with 7 Tears Have Drifted Down. That one anyway. I don't know the words, I just know the sort of tune to it. Goombay Dance Band, they were at number 1. And in total contrast, yeah, and I'm not going to sing one of their songs, I don't really know. I used to love the albums of these, of course, we're talking Iron Maiden, so these sort of heavy rock groups. I always used to love the album covers, but not so much the music. I couldn't really get into the music at that stage. But to say, in total contrast to the Goombay Dance Band, we had Iron Maiden at number 1 in the album charts with The Number of the Beast. There you go. I'm sure some of you watching this got that album, or perhaps have still got it to this day. At the cinema, E.T. was the big blockbuster, of course, of this year, 1982. It was packing them in. And £1. Yeah, if you stuck £1 under your mattress or in the cupboard or in a tin and hidden it away in your baked bean tin, there was a false tin in the cupboard, it'd be worth £3.76 now. So if you stuck £1 away, so you probably should have spent it. It was not really worth keeping, was it, for 40 years? Back to the game, yeah. Well, the 24-page Match magazine, the City Match magazine, cost a princely sum of 30p. Had Kevin Bond on the front with I'm fairly sure it's keeper Neville Southall as well from Everton on the cover, challenging him. A Kippax adult season ticket bought before the 30th of April. Yeah, you had to get your discount, and it made a big difference. Well, a little bit of difference anyway. Would set you back £25 for the North Stand and £55 for the main. A Kippax season would set you back £25. A North Stand season ticket would set you back £55, and the main stand ticket anywhere from £55 to £90. So. Yes, it was quite a lot in those days. Doesn't sound it now, does it? A travel club coach trip to Wolverhampton, yeah, £3.50, £3.25 on the train, even cheaper. But if you wanted to go to Sunderland, I was there last week as I'm recording this, £4 on the coach and £6 on the train. So it must have been uphill for the train. It must have cost more diesel to get up that climb to Sunderland. We had a few injury problems for this game, but at least we'd managed to welcome Kevin Bond back into the fold, for this Liverpool game, who was quite a key player at the back for City as captain as well. As I said, Liverpool had won 13 out of the last 15 games, so they were quite confident anyway, and they fielded a very strong side as you'd expect, and were again very, very confident also because of the three previous visits to Maine Road. I'd seen them win 4-1 in 1978-79, 4-0 in 1979-80. We'd actually improved in 80-81. They only beat us 3-0, but this one wasn't going to go so well, was it, guys? You could say it was a horrible history. The lineups that day for City: Corrigan, Ranson, McDonald, Reed, Bond, Caton, Ryan, Reeves, Kinsey, Hartford, Wilson. Our sub was Harady, or whichever way you pronounced it. And Liverpool, some famous names here that you'll recognise: Grobler, Neil Lawrenson, Kennedy, Whelan, Thompson, Dalglish, Lee, Rush, Johnston, Hanson, and their sub was McDermott. A crowd of 40,000, just over 40,000, 112. 40,112 was there that day. We were averaging about 35,000 that season, and by the end of the season, I think we were just slightly above 35,000. We were in the top four for the crowds, along United were obviously up top, but Spurs, Liverpool and City were pretty close around that 35,000 mark, so very well supported. Where were you when you were? Well, we weren't that bad then, were they? But, we were perhaps SHIT, weren't we? But there you go, top four crowds, 1982. Yeah, so don't let anyone tell you different that we weren't there. The match report, yes, well, a sunny, pleasant day at Maine Road. I was there that day for this game, and it wasn't great to watch. Although the pitch was still recovering from a hard winter, as Maine Road often did. Maine Road's pitch, Mr. Gibson did a wonderful job, but we did struggle sometimes. There's plenty of ball patches, and the ball didn't exactly run very smoothly. I think our guys today have struggled just a little bit to zip it across the pitch. And it was quite an untidy start by both teams, with long balls failing to reach the target or going out of play. But it wasn't long before Liverpool took the lead. It followed a clumsy foul, actually, by Kevin Bond. John Bond wasn't playing. His son, Kevin Bond, I wrote down here John Bond, so glad I spotted that, guys. Kevin Bond on Dalglish, who literally, just sort of clattered into him from behind, very clumsy. But then again, Dalglish also kicked out at Kevin Bond, but nothing was done by the referee. He had words, but there was no booking or anything like that. So yes, Kevin Bond was at fault, but possibly Dalglish should have perhaps gone in the book for that one in respect. And it was a Sammy Lee free kick, smashed home from some 35 yards. Yeah, Corrigan was left absolutely flailing, had no chance, hit the top corner. Liverpool, and that was after 7 minutes. I mean, it was so far out that we hadn't even put a wall. We hadn't even prepared a wall. We hadn't even bothered with a wall because we thought he's not going to score from there. Mr. Sammy Lee did. Amazing goal. And 2 minutes, it was almost 2 minutes later, as Johnston broke through, got him behind us, and obviously got in front of Caton, left Caton for dead, but Corrigan bravely saved at Johnston's feet. So he kept it to 1-0, so we're okay. We huffed and puffed a bit, but we didn't really make Grobler do too much work. He was collecting the odd cross and back pass and watching the ball sail over the bar mainly. We weren't exactly worrying the target. And that was his only real work, just watching things and collecting things. At the other end, Caton and Rush tussled and tumbled in the City penalty area, but claims for a penalty were turned away by the referee, who says it was 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, so we'll take that. So there we go. Did we have a fair ref? Well, probably not, because Michael Peck from Kendal, it was, incredibly, unbelievably gave Liverpool a penalty shortly after. A brilliant, and it was a brilliant tackle. You can still catch this on YouTube, guys. A brilliant tackle by Caton on Rush in the box. He got the ball, was adjudged to be a foul. And to the horror of the City players and the fans, a shocking decision. And obviously it allowed Liverpool a penalty. Mr. Phil Neal was quite adept at scoring penalties. He dispatched the penalty into the top right, and Big Joe, again, had no chance with this. And it's 2-0 after 42 minutes. And yeah, at half time, you pretty much think it's game over. In those days, we can fight back from 2-0. That's nothing, that was doddle. And the half ended 2-0, of course, to boos from the City fans, but not aimed at the team in particular, just aimed at the referee for a poor display. And obviously, it had been a lacklustre first half from City, though, in respect to how we'd played. We started the second half a little bit brighter, a quick couple of corners and one. And it was almost 2-1. A great Kinsey cross, from the right wing was spectacular. It reminded me of the flying-headed goal against United in the 5-1. Reeves diving header, sort of middle of the box, and it just cleared the bar. And sadly for us, ended up in the Platt Lane. It would have been a cracking goal, but that was possibly the closest we came really in the match. The next goal, of course, at 2-0 is always vital, but sadly it came Liverpool's away again. 58 minutes. For once, Rush got the better of Caton, who would sort of say, apart from that penalty, which was totally not a penalty, Caton had coped quite well, but he got away from on the right of the box. Found an unmarked Johnson, who just slotted home easily past a flat-footed Corrigan. And a fourth home league defeat to Liverpool on the trot appeared inevitable at this stage at 3-0. We're not coming back from this. Probably in the crowd, our heads were down a little bit. We knew, we're getting beat by this lot again. Liverpool, of course, now full of confidence, and from nothing it was 4-0 as Alan Kennedy on the City right looked to be going nowhere. But Jinkton battled and crossed the ball into the far right corner of the goal. Another bit of luck for Liverpool in this way, so in the same way they were given a penalty and a wonder-free kick. But obviously we were. It wasn't even I think it was a cross basically from Alan Kennedy. It just floated into the top corner. So we were 4-0 down with still 30 minutes to play, so not great. And it wasn't much longer. It was 5-0. Some simple interplay between Dalglish and Rush ended with a simple side foot home past the oncoming Corrigan, and that was 5-0. Fortunately, it didn't get any worse. It stayed at 5-0. If that wasn't bad enough as a horrible history. No boos at full time, I noticed, but it was interesting as the game did draw to a close. The City fans were sort of singing songs. It was obviously we'd sort of livened up as we tended to do in those days. All you could do was sing and celebrate, even if you've been stuffed by a big rival, of course. And it was City singing the songs. In the last few minutes of the match, finishing with Dennis Stewart, king of all Geordies, who, as you'd expect from City fans, he hadn't played for months. He'd picked up a really bad Achilles tendon injury in mid-December, ironically, against Sunderland, which had kept him out which was a season-ending injury, of course. But the City fans were chanting his name, wishing perhaps he'd been on the pitch to help us out, even at that stage where he'd perhaps passed his peak as well in 1982. As I say, he'd only become a bit part player under John Bond anyway. You always remember the cup final and bringing him on late, stuff like that. We always did irony in those City fans, didn't we? Even after a 5-0 humbling, we still did the irony bit, and I tried to have a bit of fun, and that's all you could do in those days. A crestfallen John Bond on Match of the Day just basically commented they were so superior to us in every way, and the sad fact of it was they were. When you think, say, it was only a few months earlier, we'd not destroyed them at Anfield, but certainly were well worth our 3-1 win there, but it was a different Liverpool team. Of course, Liverpool were going to lift the title, beating Ipswich into second spot by 4 points. So they didn't run away with it, but they did enough to win it. Going back to back, of course, that was the second title on the trot, and they would actually win it the season after as well, 82-83. So they'd actually have a hat-trick of league titles. Well, I don't, hopefully, if you know your City history, I can't say too much about us, can I? As for City, yes, a season that Chris would have promised so much ended pretty much in mediocrity, didn't it? As we finished 10th overall, some 29 points behind champions Liverpool. So we lost another 19 points over that last set of games on Liverpool. And John Bond himself, of course, would last until the end of January 1983, the following season. A season, of course, that would see our inglorious relegation after a 1-0 home defeat to Luton, and lots of problems after that. But hope you enjoyed that for a horrible history. As I say, we carry on regardless, and hopefully, as I'm recording this with the big match coming up, we can perhaps turn that score around and inflict that score on Liverpool. But hey, I'll take a 1-0 at this stage. That's how it is. Anyway, thanks for joining for this little History Boys feature plus Horrible Histories feature. We do have them from time to time. Manchester City 0, Liverpool 5, 10th of April 1982. Please, guys, until we meet again, please, I only ask one thing, don't I? Please stay safe, Blues. Come on, City. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.